I'll give you this. I'll be honest with you. You know, I get it. Listen, who doesn't think Dariush and fucking Islam is a great fight? I mean, it's a fucking killer fight. I would love to see that fight to see who the #1 contender is. But I'm not gonna lie. After tonight, I don't mind, you know, I'm like, I wouldn't mind doing Islam versus, you know, Oliveira either. So we'll see what happens.
The lightweight division has been the glamour division for the UFC for several years. Some of the most famous fighters in MMA history have had the title wrapped around their waist, and either Charles Oliveira will rightfully get his hands back on the belt that he never lost, or Islam Makhachev will etch his name into MMA lore when the two clash at UFC 280 in Abu Dhabi. The matchup has the MMA world buzzing, and everyone from former opponents to the president of the UFC and even fighters in different weight classes have chimed in to give their thoughts on this dynamic fight. So let's get into what the MMA world has to say about the upcoming lightweight title fight between Charles Oliveira and Islam Makhachev. Fighter reactions. Ever since Khabib Nurmagomedov retired, he has championed his main training partner, Islam Makhachev, as the next lightweight champion. And the time has finally come for Islam to claim the title. However, in a recent interview, UFC President Dana White warns Khabib and Islam that it won't be that simple, because Charles Oliveira is a legitimate champion. So let's hear from Dana himself on this upcoming title fight.
Khabib has said for a very long time that Islam Makhachev is the best in the world and he's going to be the next world champion. He's going to dominate that division the way that that he did. You got to get through Charles Oliveira first. You know what I mean? Charles Oliveira is no walkover. This kid's a stud. Technically, he's not the champion, but to all of us, he is the champion.
Several interested parties have chimed in with their thoughts on this fight, one of them being Oliveira's latest victim, the former #1 contender, Justin Gaethje. When asked about his thoughts on the upcoming fight, especially the fact that Islam is favored over Oliveira, Gaethje sided with his former rival, as he had this to say.
I think Charles is going to move forward. I don't see, Islam's going to try. And eventually he might be successful, and if he is, he'll win. But I don't see him tiring him out. Even if he takes him down for the first 2 rounds, I don't see Charles getting submitted, and I don't see him being too exhausted to continue to fight the fight that he needs to fight.
Gaethje ended by saying,
I'm 100% confident that Islam will not dominate Charles. And that's about it.
Another former #1 contender, Michael Chandler, also gave his 2 cents on the fight in a recent interview. Like Gaethje, he too is siding with the man who beat him. The resurgence of Charles Oliveira's career from relatively unknown, somewhat up and down, can't be relied upon journeyman to now legitimate #1 lightweight on the planet has been something to behold. Some put respect on Charles Oliveira's name. I think Charles Oliveira goes out there and honestly thinks he finishes him. However, former middleweight champ turned UFC commentator Michael Bisping doesn't think it'll be that easy for Oliveira. The former champ took to his YouTube channel to break the fight down, saying that Oliveira will essentially have to fight the perfect fight to win. So let's have a listen to what The Count has to say about this contest.
Right, as I say, sometimes he makes mistakes, Oliveira. Sometimes he gets caught, sometimes he nearly gets finished. Well, if he wants to maintain the lightweight championship of the world, and yes, I said that because in my mind, he is the lightweight championship of the world, regardless of technically losing it to the scale. Come on, man, what was it, half a pound, 0.2 of a pound, something like that. In my opinion, he is still the champ, but still, he's gonna have to be careful. If he wants to be the champ, if he wants to win this one and go home with another shiny belt against Islam Makhachev, he's gonna have to be perfect.
Although technically Oliveira isn't the champion due to missing weight in his last fight, many do consider him the lightweight king, which is why it's all the more surprising to see him as an underdog to Makhachev. And we aren't the only ones that think so. Just take a listen to what flyweight queen Valentina Shevchenko has to say about this fight.
Are you surprised that Islam is actually the betting favorite going into that fight? Charles is the betting underdog.
Actually, yes, because Charles Oliveira, he fought more top-ranked opponents than Islam. And actually, fought all top fighters in the weight division. He beat them all and actually showed, yes, I am belongs here, and this is why I hold the belt. Islam, he never had opportunity to fight someone who is like more ranked than him, and this is actually make it harder to understand how betting are going, who are creating these odds. But yeah, whatever, let's enjoy the fight.
The recent resurgence of Charles Oliveira has many people supporting him, including his fellow countrymen like Gilbert Burns, who took to Twitter after the fight was announced and tweeted, "It's not just Oliveira's countrymen that are believing in him, but even breakout star Paddy Pimblett is backing the Brazilian superstar in the upcoming fight." When asked about the fight in an interview, Paddy had the following to say, "It's gonna be a big fight, but I think Charles is gonna have too much for him. I think Charles will finish him in like 3, something like that. He's been through a much higher caliber of opponents, competed against a lot more dangerous fighters, and he's come through the other side. And I just think he's got too many tools in his arsenal for Islam to deal with." Meanwhile, the current featherweight king, Alexander Volkanovski, is another interested member, as he has said he wants to move up to lightweight and contend for champ status. And his recent tweet after this fight announcement made it all the more clear, as he said, "I got the winner." Volkanovski would later elaborate on who he'd like to fight for the title in an interview with Ariel Helwani. So let's take a quick listen to the champ's wishes.
Who do you want to win?
Oh man, it's at the end of the day, I just want the belt. But what do you think the bigger fight is? I think the bigger fight is definitely Charles Oliveira. You know, I think he's got so much hype on him now. Like, look at how exciting, and we know it's going to be an exciting fight. He's so exciting to watch.
The main event fighter's reaction. Now that we have an idea what the MMA community has been thinking about, let's hear from the 2 main event fighters themselves. Charles Oliveira did an interview shortly after the fight was announced where he had a pretty heated and a bit out of character attitude towards his future opponent. Here's what Dubronx had to say. "There's one thing I need to tell you, I want to tell you. They're being arrogant, and that's what will kill them. The arrogance from their manager, from former fighters, will kill them. No one will ever hit me harder than life already hit me." But that wasn't all. It seems as if being counted out and made into an underdog has lit a fire under the former champ. Oliveira would say, "I'm coming to your house, my friend, to fight you, to make history and keep my legacy going as the UFC lightweight champion. You're talking a lot of shit. Like, I've always respected all of you, but you better pay attention, so don't cry about it later. That's all I have to say." The Brazilian superstar ended his interview vowing the following. "Look, I won't say I'm going to submit or knock him out, but I'll beat him. Listen to this. I will beat Islam Makhachev. The division's problem is called Charles Oliveira. That's the division's problem. It doesn't matter what they say. If they really want it, I want it too." Now, this aggressive reaction from Oliveira had one Khabib Nurmagomedov playing psychologist, as he said, "I simply think he's starting to feel the pressure of the fight. You know, when you're trying to fight someone, for example, someone like Gaethje or Chandler or Poirier, you know they have already lost in the past. You can see their pluses and minuses, and you can identify the switch in their fight that leads them to victory or defeat. So what I believe, and this is solely my point of view, is he may consider this arrogance as well, but it doesn't matter. It appears to me that he looks at Islam and can't find that switch, so because of that, he gets nervous. He starts to talk about this so-called arrogance and so on, but who does this really concern? On October 22nd, he steps into the cage, and we plan on finishing him whether he likes it or not." Meanwhile, Islam Makhachev had the complete opposite reaction. He was cool, calm, and collected when he tweeted out, "October 22nd, I'm bringing UFC lightweight belt back to Dagestan, inshallah." A few days later, Islam would appear on the DC and RC show to promote the fight, where he revealed that Oliveira was forced into taking the fight. So let's hear from Islam himself on this subject matter.
But UFC tell him, hey, if you not take this fight, we're gonna give some chance to Michael Chandler. That's why he take this fight, you know.
Islam would go on to say that not only will he win the fight, he'll then take on everyone the UFC puts in front of him. The fight itself. Charles Oliveira is riding an 11-fight win streak into this match, having finished the likes of Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, and Michael Chandler in his last 3 bouts. Although he won't come with the belt wrapped around his waist, it is clear to everyone, except the Arizona Fight Commission, that Do Bronx is the champion of the 155-pound division. While Makhachev is also on an incredible fighting streak, having won 10 in a row, however, his level of opponents don't compare to Oliveira's. But despite this, he comes in as the favorite. This just goes to show you how highly people regard the Dagestanian grappler and the heir apparent to Khabib's lightweight throne. The fight looks to be an incredible contest set of skills, as the two men have unique fighting games that on paper would exploit each other's weaknesses. So who knows what will happen on October 22nd, but whatever does happen, we'll be right there to witness it.